My name is Nancy Heath and I am an education officer here at Swindon Borough Council. And I am delighted to be able to work in this wonderful environment of Lydiard House and Park. The house has been here since 1743 and it was purchased by the Swindon Borough Council in the middle of World War II in 1943. It's a great place to bring your family and friends. We have loads of space, we have a wonderful walled garden and a fabulous lake to enjoy, as well as the attached church, which is usually open to visitors and has a fantastic history all of its own. There are two fantastic cafes here. One that has sit-down meals and some others that are takeaway. It is one of Swindon's greatest pieces of heritage. It is here because Swindon Borough Council were smart enough right in the middle of 1943 to get the money together to purchase it for the people of Swindon. It was purchased in 1943 for £4,500, but it was in such dire straits and in such terrible disrepair that they had to spend several thousand after that just to keep it standing. In fact, it wasn't open to the public until the early 1950s. It was said that when the roofers came to repair the roof, the only thing keeping the roof on top of the building was the spiders holding hands. Most of the plasterwork was on the floor, there were ribbons of water, it had dry rot, it had wet rot, it was in an absolute state. So it took quite some time. In fact, there's an awful lot of Great Western Railway sleepers that are holding up the roof to this day. The council used what they could when they could. There are an awful lot of people in Swindon and the surrounding areas who have never been to Lydiard House and Park. Or they may have been to the park, they may have come here to be in the play park or to rent a barbecue, but they haven't come down and actually visited the house or the church. So I would really encourage people to visit the house because it is your heritage. You own Lydiard House. Come and enjoy your beautiful house.
Hello, my name is Mike Pringle. I'm the director of the Richard Jefferies Museum here in Swindon, except for we're not at the Richard Jefferies Museum today. Instead we're at Lawn, and as you can see from the beautiful trees behind me and some of the old wall of the original manor house of the Goddard family that used to live here. And the reason we're here is to talk about trails around Old Town, and particularly this one, which is about Richard Jefferies and various sites in Swindon where you can find out about the history of Jefferies or explore part of the world that he knew. I say I'm from the museum. The museum is where Jefferies was born, but it's actually a farmhouse out at Coat Water, and it is open to the public. You can check out the website at richardjefferies.org and find out opening times, etc. But although Jefferies was born there, he did have strong connections to Swindon town itself. Where we are now, first of all, in Lawn, just behind us is the original chapel that used to be here. Part of that has been knocked down, but part of it is still there. Jefferies would have attended that occasionally, and his grandfather is actually buried there. Another Richard Jefferies. And the tomb is still there. So if you find a tomb in Lawns that says Richard Jefferies, rest assured it's not the write-up, but it is one of his relatives. Where we now think of as the Locarno, or the cheese market, or whatever else you want to call it, which was also part of that building was also the town hall in Jefferies' day. And at the end of the town hall, on what is now High Street, there was a bakery shop. And this was run by Richard Jefferies' grandfather, who was known affectionately in town as Old Mr. Lardy. He was famous for his Wiltshire Lardy cakes. So I'm sure Jefferies probably had a liking for lardy cakes, and why wouldn't he, for heaven's sake? So Jefferies would have spent time up here during his youth, and later on, when he was sort of coming into adulthood, he needed somewhere to live himself. He actually married his neighbour, Jessie Baden, when he was 25, and that was quite young for those times, but they needed somewhere to live. So they moved into Old Town too. into a house that's just up the road from where the Swindon Advertiser was on Victoria Hill. Then I think it was called Victoria Street. And if you look above the shops, you will see that there is a grey plaque there honouring the memory of Jeffreys. The trail itself mentions a number of things. In fact, I mean, there are many trails about Jeffreys. We have trails of sort of that can take you around Coke Water and that sort of whole side of town, or out of town indeed, out to the sort of villages yonder, Liddington Hill, etc. But the Old Town Trail, we have got a map, and there are a number of sites that connect to Jeffreys, including the ones that I've mentioned. And this is available as a download from our website. And this is the area that he sort of, he was harking back to. He was sort of commemorating this county, this fair county that Swindon is still in. So go to the website, richardjeffreys.org, download the thing and come and have a look for yourself.
Hi there, my name's Kate Westbrook. I'm a member of Friends of Grange Schools. We put the Stratton Treasure Trail together to help people explore the history of our area through our historic buildings and places of interest. The Stratton Treasure Trail is a 1.5 mile walking route which is fully accessible for wheelchairs and pushchairs. If you would like to take part in the Stratton Treasure Trail, please send an email to fogsstrattontrail@gmail.com. We will let you know how to send a donation of £2.50 to us in order to receive your copy of the trail. All proceeds go to the Grange Schools in Stratton, which are Grange Infants and Grange Junior School. We developed the Stratton Treasure Trail alongside members of our community who are really helpful in putting it together. Our families all really enjoy taking part, and we hope that you do too. I'd like to let some of the children tell you more about it.
This is where the trail starts, at the Stratton St Margaret's Peace Memorial.
The trail takes you through the main street of Stratton St Margaret and transports you back to a time when this area was surrounded by farmland and had a number of small businesses providing for the local residents. The building you see here is the old bakery.
The buildings on the corner of Vernon Street behind me used to be a butcher's and a grocery shop.
What now is Faze's hair studio used to be the postal and telegram office for Stratton, which later became a chemist.
My favourite part of the trail was the Methodist Church because this is the building I've walked past hundreds of times, and from the Stratton Trail I learnt that the founding fathers' names of the church are engraved on the front of the building.
This is the pigeon house. It was made in the 16th century by people who like to eat pigeons. I found out that all of the side roads off Grange Drive were named after Grange class locomotives that were built in Swindon.
My favourite part of the trail was this bench, and it remembers a Canadian airman with his Spitfire who crashed into a tree in 1941. What I found most interesting was I learned many things about my neighbourhood. For example, this used to be a farmhouse and it was built in the 17th century.
Did you know parts of this church was built in the 12th century? That's really old.
I thought the trail for us as a family was a really great opportunity to spend some time together outdoors, learning about the history of where we live and where the children are growing up.
I'm Claire Fleming from Swindon Travel Choices, which is a part of Swindon Borough Council that helps to promote all the walking and cycling routes around Swindon. So what we've got in Swindon is a great network. There's over 100 kilometres of traffic-free paths like the one we're standing on now. Over the last few years as well, we've created the flyer network. So there's 3 flyers at the moment into the town centre. They're about 2 miles long and they're all fairly traffic-free or on safe, quiet roads to get you into the town centre. So to accompany the routes that are signed on the ground as well, we've done some maps, and these are the little maps here that you can get on the Swindon Travel Choices website. And as well as a map of the route, you can actually read about some of the heritage and the landmarks and the
attractions that you can see along the route, so they're really good to download and explore. Some of the other things we do is a Swindon cycle map, so this covers the whole borough, so this is great for journey planning if you've got to get somewhere on your bike or on foot, and you can see where all those paths are and how they connect up around Swindon. So again, you can email us for a copy of those at Swindon Travel Choices. You can find that on the site and all the details, or you can download a PDF copy and have a look for yourself, or pick one up in the libraries or the bike shops in Swindon. And if you're looking for something to do with the kids as well, we've got an orienteering map. So across over 40 lampposts across the borough, there's little orienteering marks which you'll find on the map here, so you can go out and do little sections of Swindon and find those orienteering markers and sort of challenge yourself to find new areas and explore the different paths around Swindon and sort of mark them on this map and maybe win yourself a prize as well. The cycle routes are really important to the people of Swindon, I think, because everybody's looking after their health, and we did see about 300% rise in cycling during lockdown because of the pandemic. So there is a desire, I think, for people to get out on their bikes, and hopefully they've rediscovered the enjoyment of cycling and some of the beautiful network we have around. It's really great to have all these paths around Swindon as a way of getting out and learning about the town as well. So you can get out with the family or just on your own and explore new areas and learn about all the heritage and history we've got right on our doorstep.
I'm Angela Atkinson, Swindon blogger and author. I own a blog called Born Again Swindonian. Many people know me as that. I've been writing that blog for several years now, which celebrates Swindon. And I've written 4 books now about Swindon related books, this being one of them, which came out last year. And it's about walks, it's about trails, it's about urban exploration and doorstep discovery. Basically, things that you can do for little or no money. So I'm still here with How the Mighty Fall, which is up on Shore Ridge, and it's part of the West Swindon Sculpture Walk, which that's a collection of 7 sculptures that were installed in this part of town when the Western expansion was happening during the early 80s and the early 90s. I mean, the Western expansion began in the 70s. These sculptures came in between 81 and 91 something like that. And this was under what was then Thames Down Council, and the funding for them came between the developers, the council, and I think government funding under something called the 10% for art in the public realm scheme. And these now, because they are now 40 years old, I mean most of them are 40 years old, they're part of Swindon's history, you know, they're part of our heritage. And it's amazing, it's fantastic. There's not every town that has, you know, so much public art. I mean, there's a lot of public art all over Swindon, as you know, but there's these, what's special about the West Swindon Walk is that it's here, it's this collection, and that you can walk round the mall or cycle round the mall. You don't have to pay, you know, you don't have to do anything special, they are just here for your pleasure. And it's a wonderful thing, They're a big part of our history, they are really culturally significant, and they should be looked after, they should be promoted, and they should be celebrated, because it's fantastic, and they're here for you to enjoy.
I'm Chris Watts, I'm the Chair of South Swindon Parish Council, and we're here to look at the starting point for the green corridor that's going to be put in place mainly through this year and next year. Well, it's just giving access to areas in Swindon or giving education to people that you've got these beautiful areas on your doorstep. They are all linked up. We want to formalise the route, make sure they're accessible all year round by creating better pathways through and showing how those pathways and this formal corridor, what will be a formal corridor, links up to other walkways such as the Ridgeway, Route 45 cycle route, the Millennium Way that was put in 20 years ago in Swindon, and just opening up the whole of Swindon for people. I think people are a lot more interested in walking now, and since COVID hit us, and yeah, this is what we want to do to add to that. So we'll be creating a website which will have the route and how that links up to other routes. We'll also be creating an app where as people are going along, this app will be connected to GPS, and you'll be able to be pinpointed to interesting parts of the walk and pick up history and what the particular interest is as far as animal and fauna and all those sort of things. So that's going to be available hopefully this year as well. So we'll be doing a launch, we'll be launching the website, we'll be launching the maps, and we'll be launching the app, and hopefully that'll be available quite soon.
Hello, I'm Katie Knowles. I'm a trustee for the Mechanics Institution Trust, and we're standing in Swindon's Railway Village. It's a planned village with terraced houses designed by Brunel and constructed in the 1840s. So the Great Western Railway decided to build their locomotive repair works over in Swindon, but it was a very rural location, and so they also needed alongside the works to build accommodation for their workers, and hence the Railway Village, a planned village of around 300 houses. It was designed to function as a self-contained community, so the 300 or so cottages, as well as a number of buildings for social, economical, recreational use as well. Swindon's Railway Village is considered one of the best preserved planned model railway villages in the UK. It's also part of a Heritage Action Zone. Through the Heritage Action Zone, the Council and Historic England are working together on key buildings, including the Health Hydro and the Mechanics Institute. They will be revitalising the area with plans for refurbishing those key buildings, improving public space and pedestrian routes, and generally promoting the area as a place to visit. So the Mechanics Institution Trust is a partner in the Heritage Action Zone. We were founded in 1995 to promote and protect and bring back into community use the Mechanics Institution building, which is over in Emlyn Square. That building was constructed in the 1850s by and for the GWR railway workers. It included a library, a lecture programme, a theatre and many other social events, and for over 100 years it was the centre, the hub of the community. Although the Mechanics Institution Trust doesn't own this building, we're working with the Council as part of the Heritage Action Zone to look for future uses. We're looking forward to welcoming visitors back to the museum soon. But in the meantime, there are a number of other ways in which you can explore this historic railway area, and we wanted to share some of those with you. You can use the Heritage Action Zone walking tour map produced by Historic England and available to download from the Heritage Action Zone area of Swindon Borough Council's website. You can also pick this up in the Central Library. Another option is the surprising Swindon map produced by Civic Voice, and you can also pick that up from the Central Library. Another really great trail can be found in the Born Again Swindonians guide here. This includes a GWR history trail which looks across the railway village and the railway works. So I hope you enjoy visiting Swindon's historic railway village. We look forward to welcoming you back to the museum soon, and in the meantime keep a lookout for updates on the Heritage Action Zone's website and the Mechanics Institution Trust's website.